The 2018 hit Hindi film Stree was one of the best ones that was added to the horror comedy genre in India. This was in large part due to the strong plot, which incorporates elements of folktales and legends. A key aspect of this is that the story at heart is a rural India story. It's a small town story that's full of heart and endearing characters. The legend of O Stree Kal Ana actually comes from the heartlands of Karnataka and being known as Naleba, which means come tomorrow in Kannada. The creativity of this story is such that it actually could have taken place in almost any part of the country and been just as engaging, just as fun to watch. Such is the nature of storytelling and the power it has across our country. Naleba was transformed to Stree when it was transported to Madhya Pradesh, and writing across walls of houses to please come tomorrow. This was done throughout the corridors and small lanes of small town Chanderi in the heart of Hindi heartland speaking Madhya Pradesh. Indeed, the town of Chanderi, its fort, itself was a prominent character of the film. So naturally, I was intrigued to find out more about the actual town itself and its fort's history and legends. So in this video, I want to introduce you to the real story of Chanderi, particularly the centuries-old Chanderi Fort and the legend of the Khooni Darwaza. Just before starting, a request to you all to please continue to support our work at Aarohan to keep bringing you such unique stories of our culture by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you so much. So the story of Chanderi and its fort actually begins with the Mahabharata. Shishupal, a character from the Mahabharata, was also Chedi Naresh, the king of Chedi, and this ancient kingdom is associated with modern-day Madhya Pradesh and the region around Chanderi. So most likely it was that Chanderi came under his rule. In the Kal Yuga in modern times, Chanderi Fort is located in the Ashok Nagar district of Madhya Pradesh. It's a historical fort with significant architectural and cultural heritage that dates back to the 11th century. Chanderi's history spans from its first mention by Al-Biruni the scholar in the year 1030 to its various roles in empire, starting with its capture by Ghiyasuddin Balban in 1251. Over the centuries, the city changed hands several times between the Delhi Sultanate, the Sultans of Malwa, the Mewar's Rana Sanga, the Mughals with Emperor Akbar making it a part of Malwa Suba, and Sher Shah Suri. The Bundela Rajputs under Devi Singh Bundela then took control in 1586 in the heart of the medieval times, and it was annexed by Frenchman Jean-Baptiste Philos, interestingly, on behalf of the Marathas in 1811, and then, after the First War of Independence, or following up to that, transferred to the British in 1844, and then recaptured after the 1857 war. The city was returned to the Marathas, to the Scindias of Gwalior in 1861, and finally, after India's independence, Chanderi became a part of the state of Madhya Pradesh in 1956. Now, why all this fighting, why all this back and forth, and you may be wondering, why so many rulers for such a seemingly small fort? Well, it all has to do with its strategic location, because having control of Chanderi actually meant that it helped having influence over a much larger series of trade routes because of its central location. Madhya Pradesh is in the center of India, and as is Chanderi. It's right on the borders of Malwa and Bundelkhand, and the trade routes are in close proximity to connecting central India to all the other directions. On one side you have the ports of Gujarat and Maharashtra, and then leading to the hinterland and interiors you can go to Mewar or other parts of Rajputana, Malwa, central India, the Deccan, which then leads to the south. So as a result, having control of the fort meant you could have a control over a lot of economic power, and that's why so many different kings and dynasties wanted it for itself. So as a result, over the centuries, over the many hundreds and hundreds of years, the different rulers who came now means that if you visit the fort, it has a blend of both Rajput and Mughal architecture styles. It is known for its impressive gates, particularly the Khooni Darwaza, which I'll talk about in just a moment, and its massive stone walls that provide a panoramic view of the town and the surrounding landscape. Khooni Darwaza, located within the Chanderi Fort complex, is one of the most intriguing, and obviously it's because of the name, which means gate of blood. It's in fact quite scary and ominous. And it's a massive gate that forms one of the main entrances to the fort. So you may be wondering why it earned such a scary and ominous looking name. Well, it's because of the historical events that are associated with it. And in doing the research for this video, I wasn't able to find one, but in fact, I found a few different legends. So I'll share with you what they are. According to one local legend, prisoners were executed by the king by being thrown from the top of the gate, and blood would splatter everywhere, leading to the name Khooni Darwaza. Another legend says that the gate once stood there was lined with sharp nail like iron spikes, and the king used it as punishment for guilty individuals by placing them between the doors and then, squeezing them, closing them in on both sides, causing the spikes to pierce through their body. This was a form of medieval punishment. While another brutal legend says that during the war between the Mughals and the Maharaja Medni Rai in the year 1528, this battle was so bloody, so brutal and cruel that there was a literal river of blood that was flowing, and it flowed all through the gates up to this Khooni Darwaza, and that's how it got its name. So today, Khooni Darwaza is a significant point of interest for tourists who are visiting Chanderi Fort. For its historical background, combined with the legends surrounding it, it's able to attract both the tourists and history enthusiasts like me. And of course, the panoramic view from the side provides a pretty sweeping vista of surrounding landscapes in the town of Chanderi. Some of the key attractions include the Kati Ghati, which is a stone-cut gateway that serves as one of the entrances to the fort. There's also a stepwell, a bauli, which are known as water collecting apparatuses. They were historically used for collection of water, and they're also notable for their intricate architectural design and it helping keep temperatures cool in the summer months. Finally, Chanderi, the town itself, is rich in its heritage because it's famous for its traditional handloom weaving, particularly the production of Chanderi Sarees, which are known for their very fine silk and intricate patterns. Nearby, there are ancient Jain cave temples called the Khandargiri, and they are in very close proximity to the Chanderi Fort too. So anyways, that's it for today's video, dear viewers. I hope you have a chance to visit Chanderi and see the real story behind where this film Stree took place. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay curious.